When the Thayers move into an old countryside home, their 6-year-old daughter, Lyra, immediately claims she's been there before, even though they've never visited the area. At first, her parents brush it off as childhood imagination. But as Lyra begins revealing disturbing details about events and people she shouldn't know, the line between reality and past lives begins to blur. What starts as innocent curiosity spirals into a chilling uncovering of long-buried truths, shaking the foundation of the family and the town itself. Before we jump into this incredible story, drop a comment, let us know where you're watching from. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe for more. When the Thayer family moved into the pale blue Victorian house at the edge of Briar Hollow, they thought they were buying peace. After years in the city, the quiet whisper of trees and the charm of old floorboards felt like an embrace. Arlen, the father, was eager to begin writing his novel. Mira, the mother, saw it as a fresh start for their family. But their daughter, Lyra, only 6, stepped out of the car, looked at the house, and said, "We're back." The way she said it was eerie, like she was remembering, not discovering. Mira chuckled nervously and tousled Lyra's hair. "You mean it looks like someplace you've seen in a movie?" But Lyra didn't smile. She just kept staring up at the top window, her voice a whisper. "My room's still there." Arlen and Mira exchanged glances. Just imagination, they thought. Kids do that. They create fantasy worlds, imaginary friends. But over the next few days, the lines between Lyra's fantasy and something far older began to tangle, forming a thread they couldn't easily pull apart. The house itself seemed reluctant to settle. Pipes groaned at night, doors creaked open despite being latched, and the lights flickered even after the electrician had double-checked the wiring. Arlen dismissed it, old house things, but Mira felt it in her chest. Like the house was remembering too. Lyra had started talking about Miss Willa. When asked who that was, Lyra would say, "She used to brush my hair every night before the fire." There had never been a fire in this house, at least not in the records. But Lyra was convinced. "We had to jump from the second floor. Mama Willa pushed me out the window," she said one evening over dinner, her small hands cradling her spoon like it was glass. Arlen laughed nervously. Mira, now pregnant with their second child, didn't. She began searching the county archives late at night, combing through old articles. There was no mention of a Willa, no house fires, no missing children. But Lyra was becoming more specific. She started asking for rooms that didn't exist. "Where's the back staircase?" And described furniture that had never been in the house. "The walls were green before," she said once. "It was prettier that way." One afternoon, Mira discovered Lyra standing in the attic, whispering to the shadows. "Miss Willa says the box is still under the boards," Lyra said. Myra's blood chilled. "What box, sweetie?" Lyra pointed. "Her secrets." She said she had to hide them when the man came. Mira pulled her daughter away gently, masking her fear. That night, while Lyra slept, Arlen and Mira pried open the floorboards of the attic, more out of unease than belief. They didn't expect to find anything. But there it was, a small, rusted tin box, wrapped in yellowed fabric. Inside were faded photographs of a woman with kind eyes, a lock of child's hair, and a locket with the initials WC etched inside. There were letters too, all signed by someone named Willa Carruth, dated 1934. They spoke of a daughter named Eloise, dark-haired, curious, and always asking questions. "If anything happens to me," one letter read, "know that I loved her more than my own soul. He can never find her." Mira couldn't breathe. This wasn't just coincidence. Lyra wasn't just pretending. Somehow, impossibly, she knew. The next day, Mira confronted her daughter gently. "Honey, why do you say you've been here before?" Lyra looked up, eyes wide, not scared, just tired. "Because I was. A long time ago. Before I was me." Mira asked who she was then. Lyra whispered, "Eloise." That night, Arlen tried to dismiss it. Maybe she saw the name somewhere, heard us say it? But he didn't sound convinced. Neither of them had mentioned the name Eloise aloud. And worse, Lyra had started drawing pictures. Crude but detailed. The house before renovations. The wallpaper in floral print. A tall man with a cane and no face. When asked who he was, Lyra only said, "The man who took Mama Willa away." Mira took the drawings to the Historical Society, and an elderly archivist froze when she saw them. "That's the Carruth house," she said. "It burned down in 1935. Only the girl survived, they say." Myra's heart sank. The house had burned down, but the records said nothing. Some folks rewrote the story. "Too dark, too tragic," the woman whispered. "They rebuilt over the old one." thought the past wouldn't come back. But it had, through a 6-year-old girl with the eyes of someone who remembered too much. Mira dug deeper. The town's official records were scrubbed clean, but old newspapers told the truth. The Carruth fire had made headlines in 1935. Willa Carruth, a widowed teacher, was presumed dead. Her daughter, Eloise, had vanished. Some claimed she had escaped. Others whispered that she had been taken. There was one blurry photo of Eloise, barely 6 years old. Mira gasped. The resemblance was chilling. Not identical, but in the curve of the face, the depth in the eyes, the way she held her hands, it was Lyra. At home, Lyra had become more withdrawn. She now called Mira Mama Willa in her sleep. Once, Mira caught her humming a tune no one had taught her. When asked where she learned it, Lyra said, "Miss Willa sang it when I was scared. The night the man came." The man. Mira couldn't sleep. Neither could Arlen. He now stayed up late, clutching the tin box like it held answers. But it didn't. It held only proof that something was terribly, inexplicably wrong. And then Lyra said something that froze Mira to the bone. "He's coming again. I saw him last night, outside my window. He's older now, but he remembers me." The next few nights were filled with dread. Arlen boarded up the windows. Mira kept the lights on, praying silently. And Lyra stood by the window like a sentinel. "He's closer now," she whispered. "He wants to finish what he started." One night, they heard a noise, scratching at the back door. Arlen grabbed a bat. Mira clutched Lyra. But when Arlen flung the door open, there was no one there. Only a faint, sooty handprint on the glass. That same night, Lyra screamed in her sleep. Mira ran to her room to find the bedsheets scorched, faint embers still glowing. There was no source, no fire, no matches, nothing. Just heat, and the smell of smoke. They fled to a motel that night. Mira contacted a regression therapist out of desperation. Under light hypnosis, Lyra described the night of the fire in chilling detail. "He came for Mama Willa. Said she knew too much. I was hiding in the linen chest. But she screamed. And then there was fire. So much fire. When asked who he was, she said the name with a shiver. Mr. Penrose." Mira recognized it. He'd been a local businessman in the 1930s, now long dead. Or so she thought. Driven by instinct, Mira returned to the house alone while Arlen stayed with Lyra. The attic, the heart of the memories, called her. And there, behind the old chimney, she found something else, a burnt ledger. It belonged to Ellis Penrose. Inside were names, girls. Dozens of them. Many had gone missing in the 1930s. Willa Carruth had been trying to expose him. That's why he silenced her. That's why he tried to kill Eloise. Mira brought it to the town sheriff. At first, he brushed it off, urban legend, coincidence. But one name on the list matched a cold case from his own family archives. It was real. Someone in power had buried it for decades. The sheriff reopened the investigation. News spread. The house became a symbol of voices long ignored. Lyra's memories slowly faded over the months that followed. She stopped calling Mira Mama Willa, stopped seeing him in the shadows. But one thing never changed, her empathy. She became quieter, wiser. As if some part of Eloise remained, nestled inside her spirit like an ember that refused to die. On the 1-year anniversary of moving into the house, they returned. Not to live, but to say goodbye. The town had preserved it as a historical site, a memorial for the missing. Lyra stood beneath the willow tree out back, the wind playing with her curls. "She's not here anymore," she said softly. "She's free now." Mira knelt beside her. "Do you remember her?" Lyra thought for a long moment. "Not really. Just the way she loved." They left flowers at the base of the tree, one for Willa, one for Eloise. As they turned to leave, Lyra paused and looked up at the attic window. For a fleeting second, she saw a woman there. Not frightening. Just watching. Protecting. She smiled. Then the image faded, replaced by sunlit dust. Life moved on. The past finally rested. But across town, in a crumbling house untouched by renovation, a single lamp flickered on. And a shadow passed by the window. Not everything stays buried. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something, question the unseen, or think about the echoes we leave behind, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who believes that the past speaks in whispers, and that some memories choose us for a reason. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever felt a strange connection to a place, a moment, or a memory you couldn't explain? Drop your story in the comments below. And if you want more gripping, emotional tales that stay with you long after the credits roll, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Untold Files. where every story has a heartbeat,